Welcome to the Isle of Wight, welcome to Moor Farm, and welcome to Charnwood Homestay 2023. This year, fortunately, the homestay event is not a result of the pandemic when we weren't allowed to meet. Although, perhaps in a funny way, it is linked. Because since the pandemic and then the war in Ukraine, we all have been incredibly busy. And when we started asking around what kind of event we should do, the feedback we got was actually maybe this year we'd be better to do a virtual event. But next year we will be back here together in person. At Charnwood, our goals are to transform lives and delight customers. And today we're going to show you a little bit about how we're trying to achieve this. Of course, you'll be the judge, so do let us know. Let's go. So, hope you enjoyed that tour of the Isle of Wight. Come with me to the Charnwood factory. Last year, we celebrated 50 years as a company, and many of you were able to join us for those celebrations last May. We've grown massively over those 50 years. It started with my grandfather, uncle, and father, and they were joined by many excellent people who have been instrumental in this growth. This year we have Wal, Debbie and Mark, who have joined Les and of course Dad in working for 40 years in the company. And we have many others who have been here over 25 years. Our Christian faith has been the constant, and we have seen the Lord's guidance and leading throughout this time, and never so much over these past few very strange years. And it was our 50th year where we have seen the biggest growth. It was our 50th and very best year ever. What is more, we had 50 new starters join us also. But this growth in people numbers meant that we really needed to think carefully about how we grow sustainably to maintain the company feel, which has made us the company we are. So, just over a year ago, we introduced something called the AJ Way, which aims to communicate our values better throughout the company so that everybody can use their skills to participate in the best way possible. Tom will explain a bit more about this later. In terms of product which has done well this year, it's actually quite difficult to get a clear picture. The reality is that what we have made has sold. And so it has been our capacity which has been the limiting factor this year. However, as you would expect, the air range has done particularly well, and the island continues to be a firm favourite. Last year, we launched the C5 Duo, which has sold very well. The Haven, however, was our flagship new product. But the challenge we've had is getting it into production. But at the beginning of the year, we started sending display models out, and now we are accepting end customer orders. Unsurprisingly, the Haven has proved to be a really popular product, and we are sorry we've had to limit the numbers at this stage. We are working really hard to try and increase our capacity, and later Guy will show you what we've been doing in the factory. Looking forward to the season ahead, I think it's going to be another very busy one. We're already seeing signs from Europe, just like last year, that the market is hotting up. We know it's going to be busy for the rest of this year because we have orders all the way through, and then this will carry on into the first part of 2024. As the second part in any year is always busy, I think we can confidently say that we should plan for this busy time until at least 2025. Get prepared. We promise to do all we possibly can, as I hope you will now see. So once again, welcome to Charnwood Homestay. Sit back and enjoy. Get your goodie box ready. Sed will tell you later when you can open it. And I'm going to hand over to Tom.
I'm going to tell you a little bit about some of the things we've been doing with the people who work here at AJ Wells. We are very fortunate that we have so many talented and committed people who work here.
Hello from Carl O'Neill, the area manager for Scotland and Ireland.
Hello from Craig Jespers, the area sales manager for the southeast of England.
Hello from John Scarlett, your area sales manager for the southwest.
Hello from Mike Mosley, your area sales manager for the north of the UK.
Hello from Matt, I work in the marketing department.
Hello from Colin, I work in accounts.
Hi from Carla, I work in purchasing.
Hi from Lorraine, and I work in accounts.
Hi from Dylan, I work on the laser machine.
Hi from Izzy, I work in customer service.
Hi from Sharon, it's all about the stove sales.
Hi from Paige, I'm from sales and customer services.
Hi from Hannah, I work in customer service and technical.
Hi from Emmanuel, I work in Charnwood France sales.
Hi from Pilly and I work in customer services.
From Moody, I work on the assembly line.
Hi from Gemma, I work in customer services.
Hi from Ollie, I work in French services and technical as well.
Hi from Karen and I work in HR.
Hi from Matt in IT.
Hi from John, I work in IT.
Hi from Rob and I work in accounts.
Hi from Mark, I work in customer services.
Hi from Josh, I work in the assembly line.
Said I can't do it.
That'll do. And this has enabled us over the last 50 years to grow and to develop into the company we are today. But it is important that as we grow that we don't lose sight of the key values that we've held firm to over the years. So what is the AJ way? Well, to put it simply, it's our way of working, where everyone in the company is given the opportunity and encouraged to offer their best contribution towards shaping and supporting our vision. And for people to know, whoever they are and whatever they do in the company, that they have a purpose and that they are valued and they can make a difference. So every couple of weeks, we meet up in small teams to discuss what we can do to make things even better. We focus on 3 key areas: productivity, sustainability, and a great place to work. People are invited to share their ideas on how we can become more productive. What changes can we make to increase our output? What are the things that hinder us in our work? How we can become more sustainable in the way we operate? How we can ensure that everyone's experience of working at AJ Wells is a positive one. So within our teams, we set goals based around these areas. To set these goals, we start by assessing our current state, what each of these areas looks like in our team at the moment, and then our desired state, where we'd like to get to. It's been really exciting to see some of the changes that have taken place over the last year, to see how people have flourished when given the opportunity to positively contribute. Ultimately, we hope that these positive changes will bring us closer to fulfilling our vision of transforming lives and delighting our customers.
You'll have been aware of some of the recent press on wood burning. Ironically, here in the UK, it was sparked by the Environmental Improvement Plan, which clearly said that we're not considering a ban on domestic wood burning in England. The UK government recognised that some households are reliant on solid fuel burning as a primary source for heating, hot water and cooking. And with this in mind, the government is not seeking to ban burning. Even unregulated burning wasn't going to be considered for a ban either. So all good news. Well, yes and no. There were a couple of points in the press decided to jump on. One being that the DEFRA limit was going to be reduced, something that we are actually very supportive of. And the other, that burning in a non-approved appliance in a smoke control area would become a civil offence instead of a criminal one. And that would mean that the burden of proof would be easier, and therefore local authorities, assuming they had the resources, could fine households more easily. Rather than make headlines saying that there were no plans for a ban, the press decided to make headlines that say householders were going to get fined. They even said that it'd be criminalised, which was exactly the opposite of what was really being said. Further, in London, the Mayor announced air quality targets, which supposedly would mean that planning would not be forthcoming for buildings with stoves. Although the detail was lacking and retrofitted stoves looked as though they'd be okay. Again, the press were quick to make headlines saying stoves are going to be banned in London. It seems to be quite a theme from the mainstream media to try and bash wood burning. However, when polls are carried out, the vast majority of people are against such a ban. So why is this? Well, it's truly difficult to know. But to be slightly cynical for a moment, it is perhaps no coincidence that there are large financial and other vested interests, not just in fossil fuels, but also in renewables. The government has been driving strongly for heat pumps, but as many people will tell you, heat pumps are not particularly effective at very low temperatures, and a wood-burning stove is an ideal companion. Part of the recent attraction for wood-burning stoves has been the self-sufficiency and fuel independence they offer. Independent of large fuel suppliers supplying fossil fuels, electricity and even wood pellets. It is perhaps this more than anything which attracts the ire of the media, egged on by large vested interests. So what do we do? Well, firstly, we need to remember why most of us got into selling wood-burning stoves. It was because we passionately believe that wood burning is a sustainable form of heating, which has been around for thousands and thousands of years. We love our natural environment, and wood burning is part of this ecosystem, which, when done well, in good appliances, has a positive benefit to our world. We were the original environmentalists. We believe that burning wood well is part of the solution to better air quality. And that is why each one of our businesses has invested thousands and thousands of pounds in making things better. Last year, here, we spent nearly £1 million on developing better wood burning technology. Yes, we know we can do more, although a modern and good wood burning stove can reduce emissions by 90% compared to an open fire, and by 80% compared to an old leaky stove. We can still reduce our emissions further. We work closely with the SIA in promoting the benefits of stoves. We would strongly suggest that you join the SIA retail group to be part of this. We also have our stoves as part of the Clear Sky Mark scheme. This demonstrates to government what we are doing to improve things even further. The NAEI report shows that only 2.6% of PM2.5 emissions come from modern wood burning stoves, and this drops to 0.3% when dry wood is burned. Modern wood burning stoves make up a small proportion of total domestic combustion, as we can see here. However, we can still do better, and many of you will know about what we've been doing with the E700. So let's have a look. We wanted to give you a bit of an update on where we are with the Charnwood Sky E700. We first showed you this in 2020.
So this really is the future of wood burning. A good stove, good fuel has always been possible to achieve. However, the user has been the weak point, and the Sky E700 ensures the stove is always operated at its optimum levels.
Just after we'd launched it in New Orleans at HPP Expo. It had just gained its EPA approval, so we were allowed to demonstrate it burning on the stand. It was while we were in the US that lockdowns and travel restrictions started to come into force. We got back just in time. Our plan had been to get it into the US market in 2021, but COVID rather ruined that plan. In any case, we didn't have any spare production capacity to make any. However, we had an opportunity to focus a lot of development time onto this project. And in truth, this was really important, as we have to get this stove right. Production and travel pressures meant that launching this product was further delayed, and then the EPA decided that it was going to review all the EPA tests. The E700 was identified to be retested as there was a technical abnormality with the original test. However, this actually worked in our favour, as the subsequent work we'd done on the software allowed us to retest with a pass that was even better than we originally had. However, a further delay occurred when the worldwide shortage of electronic chips happened. The good news is that last month we delivered the first production unit into North America, and this season we are planning to get these units onto the market with a fairly limited launch due to production constraints. Despite this taking longer than we first envisaged, we have used the time to further develop both the stove and the software. One of the things we've learned is that typically when developing a conventional stove, you just have to design a stove and run a test on it. However, with an intelligent stove, we also have to develop an operation for every scenario. So it's not just creating the stove, but it's also effectively training up a user and giving them detailed instructions for every possible eventuality. For those of you who went to World of Fireplaces in Leipzig, you will have seen a few other manufacturers had prototype appliances on display using a similar concept to the E700. It seemed as they were using slightly different technology by using a lambda sensor. However, this is really positive, as we passionately believe intelligent stoves will have a big part to play in the future. I know one of the questions you'll be asking now is, when is the E700 coming to me? When's it going to be launched in Europe? Well, we are working very hard on that right now. We're going to be learning a lot of things with this launch into North America, and we will be getting it tested in Europe and hopefully getting it launched here soon. But watch this space. The one thing we will say though is that we will not launch it until we are totally satisfied with the product, with the program that we've created, because this is not a product that we want to get wrong. I'm now going to hand over to development, and they're going to tell you some of the other things they've been working on.
Hello, I'm Alex Wells, representing the Research and Development Department here at AJ Wells & Sons. I'd like to briefly let you know what we've been working on for the last year. Since we last saw you, we've also developed the C4 Duo. This is the fixed grate, multi-fuel 5 kilowatt stove. We spent a long time optimising the C5 Duo to burn both mineral fuel and wood in response to the concerns over fuel security, and we really saw the benefit of this research as we applied our knowledge to the C4 Duo. Retaining the popular styling of the C4 Blue, you should find that the C4 Duo burns wood and mineral fuel efficiently, cleanly and completely, whilst maintaining a clear view of the fire. In order to optimise the air delivery for both mineral fuel and wood burning, we've included the fuel selector switch that you see on our more modern multi-fuel stoves. And just a reminder again that it's either in for wood or out for coal, never an in-between position. As you know, we decided to launch the Sky E700, our electronically controlled wood burning stove, in the US and Canada, partly because their emissions legislation is so stringent. Pleasingly, the Sky E700 flew through the certification testing with no interventions from the test engineers other than to load the fuel. Since then, we've now concentrated our development efforts on the European market, The test requirements and the user expectations are quite different on this side of the Atlantic. We've been on a real voyage of discovery with the Sky E700 and have learnt more about combustion than we have with any other stove. Electronic stoves are fascinating to work on because you can change a few parameters in the code and then witness a completely different type of burn, different flame pattern, different performance, different emissions. We've invested heavily in the laboratory instrumentation that allows us to monitor smoke, particulates, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxides and organic gaseous compounds. And we've been able to correlate these different emissions with the algorithms that we've been testing on the Sky E700 in order to develop a really clean, burning, efficient stove. In the USA, Canada, UK and Europe, we see legislation constantly evolving, and it seems clear that the direction of travel is towards cleaner burning stoves, and we take this environmental responsibility very seriously. Electronic control is a nascent technology in the wood burning industry. However, we're passionate that the technology must serve the aim, and so we've spent a vast amount of time making the technology as unobtrusive and intuitive as possible. This manifests itself in three areas: on the stove, at home and on the app. On the stove, you can do everything you ever need to do with just one button. At our homes, Hugh, Zed, Wal and I have all run Sky E700s this winter. So having made combustion algorithm changes or app improvements at work, we've been updating them over the internet and then immediately trying them out on our families who have provided us with frank and honest feedback. Finally, on the app, Wal has been concentrating on making the user interaction as intuitive and informative as possible. And we've come a long way on this journey and hopefully we're nearly there. On a completely different theme, we were delighted to host Joshua Omolongolo from rural Kenya for 5 months in the R&D lab. During this time we ate more than our fair share of ugali and developed a low-cost cook stove with Joshua by moulding ceramic-based materials into a shape that maximised clean combustion and heat output and safely exhausted the flue gases outside. On his return to Kenya, Joshua has continued the development and made a number of prototype cook stoves that he's tried in his home and at his church. We're still in contact with him as he begins to transition this to a micro business, making cook stoves that will help reduce the respiratory problems associated with indoor wood-fired cooking for those who have very little. So it's been an exciting year, and we hope this has given you a little insight into some of the R&D team effort that goes into simplifying the burning process, making our Charnwood stoves as clean and efficient as possible. Thanks.
And a warm welcome to you all. I'm here to give you an update on our latest marketing initiatives and share some news on what we have on offer for you and the season ahead. Now, these last few years have been quite a catalyst for us in exploring different areas and mediums to tell the Charnwood story and to celebrate our heritage. A big focus for us has been online media and film, which of course you're watching right now. Our social media and website allows us to create and share a constant flow of content and topical articles, which you will see across our Facebook, Instagram, YouTube and Pinterest channels and on our website itself. But the traditional methods are still just as valid. Magazines, showrooms and exhibitions are all still relevant. Stoves are very tangible items, so our drive has been to narrate this as a living brand that can still be felt, touched and experienced firsthand. Shows are back in full swing, and indeed last year we exhibited at several of the international fairs, including Progetto Ficora in Verona, Maison Objet in Paris and the Glamping Show in Coventry. We even took our Blaze outdoor kitchens over to Cologne, then to Valencia and then across the pond to Las Vegas earlier this year. Back in March we attended Flam Expo in Lyon, and it was encouraging to see how busy this exhibition was and how much interest there was in the new Charnwood Haven. Here is a short clip we filmed at the show.
Welcome to Lyon. Here we are at the Flam Expo show. We've got the Haven on display here. We've seen the European market massively pick up. It's just been incredibly busy. I think it started with Germany and then it went out to France and Italy and Belgium and Holland and then hit the UK and Ireland after that.
So it's good to see that the appetite for exhibitions has returned. There is nothing quite like seeing the product in the flesh. Now you will have hopefully received your box of goodies earlier this week, so please do open it if you haven't already. And in it we've included some tastes of island life, so let's have a look. We have got some pork scratchings from the Garlic Farm. We've got some island roasted coffee from our coffee house down the road. We've got some slow roasted tomatoes from the Arraton Valley. And of course we've got this legendary mermaid gin, which has now gone international. And we have got some farmhouse cookies, which are always go down well. And other things that we've got in there, we've got notebooks, we've got a leaflet on the new Haven, we've got a water bottle. You will also find a new scented candle that is hand poured here on the island that is designed to emulate the smell of our very own Charnwood forest. And all these things are designed to tell you the story and tap into the spirit of Charnwood. So please enjoy. Now this leads us on to another important aspect of our marketing, your showroom. This is a space that enables us and you to display that essence of Charnwood. So let's go across to one of our showrooms that we have recently kitted out with just some of the point of sale that we have on offer. So, welcome to Island Stoves. Now Island Stoves are one of our premier dealers here on the Isle of Wight, just a stone's throw away from the factory, and they're a really good example of what your showroom could be capable of. So we've pulled together all of the elements that we can offer you for your showroom. We've used our signature Charnwood green on the walls. We've used this signature forest across this back wall, which can be changed and manipulated to different sizes depending on what you want in your showroom. We've taken this logo, the round Charnwood logo, and we've used this as a kind of a bullet point within the showroom as well. So you'll see it on the brochure. You'll see it on these pallet wrap stands, which are a really great solution for if you just want to wheel the stove in on a pallet, you drop the stand around it and you cover it in shingle or bark, and it makes for a very instant stand that sort of uplifts your stove. You will see that we have these point of sale cards here in these wooden blocks that again use the Charnwood logo, the Charnwood branding. And then we've mixed it in with some elements such as these Chesterfield sofas, which give it a bit of character and a bit of essence of Charnwood. This showroom has around about 17 stoves in here, so although the space isn't huge, it shows what you can do in this area. We have our video wall here, just a small screen, but then shows some of the more of the lifestyle films that we've been creating over the last few years on constant loop playing in the background. Over to the Blaze area, what Island Stoves have done here is they have used scaffolding boards, old scaffold boards. They have then mounted the heat shields onto the walls to really demonstrate the effectiveness of heat shields on combustible walls or wooden cabin walls. You can see here they have the new Haven on display, not quite fitted yet, but that will be fitted very soon. And again, they've dressed up the Blaze heat shields with these magnetic pots. Also these magnetic samples, which are really great for showing customers the different finishes that you can have. So we have all of our giveaways here. We've got beers, we've got notebooks, we've got pens, all that sort of stuff. You'll see that we have a new Charnwood Forest candle, which you will find in your packs. We also have all the literature here laid out on the table. Again, this is constantly updating, constantly changing, but gives the customer a real feel for what Charnwood is about, the essence of Charnwood, the Charnwood aesthetic. We have helped design a number of showrooms over this past year, And if you would like any help going forward with your showroom, or you would like any of the items that you see on display here, then do give us a shout, speak to your area sales manager, and we'll be more than happy to help. So I hope that provides you with some inspiration. And if you do need a showroom revamp, do get in touch and we'll be more than happy to help. As we have mentioned, we are a people company. So another avenue we have been exploring recently is seeking out interesting customers and homes that tell stories. Over this last year, we have travelled across the UK to some fascinating locations. Some have been remote and some a bit more urban. So let's take a look at some of those homes now.
Hi, I'm Sam Hansard. I'm one half of Sam and Tamara.
I'm Tamara. I have been a vintage and antique dealer for about 8 years.
We are vintage and antique dealers, and we are also digital creators for vintage and antique inspired interiors. We both live in North London.
By sea, by land, by air. All roads lead to London. The essence of London is not its size, but its variety.
Realised we lived 5 minutes from each other, loved each other's styles. We have very different styles. And we started working together, sourcing for designers, sourcing for commercial projects, and it developed from there.
Well, without wanting to state the obvious, vintage and antiques. I've always loved them. They were very much part of my childhood. My mum would drive us around the local area in East London, and we would often look in skips and salvage things from skips. I like things that are natural. I like texture. I like a fairly muted colour palette. But ultimately, it's not about the way things look, it's about the way things feel. Having a wood-burning stove has been on my wish list for a very, very long time. It's a sense of physical warmth, but I think it's an emotional warmth and psychological warmth as well, because it's, I don't know, I mean, there's something quite primal about a fire, isn't there? I just think it's a signifier, isn't it, that it's the end of the day and you can just chill. It's a gathering place. As soon as the fire's on, the dog's in here, the kids are in here, we've got probably a movie on or something like that, and it's just somewhere, you know, post-dinner where we all come together, really. So it's a bit like in the olden days where you just all come together around the fire. I guess it's a bit like that. When I looked into wood-burning stoves, one of the reasons I was drawn to Charnwood in particular is their sort of eco-credentials. And the other reason that Charnwood was the one that I don't know why. Is Charnwood or Charnwood? I never really know. Charnwood. I like Charnwood. It's got a little French feel to it, hasn't it?
Bonjour et bienvenue dans nos bureaux. Charnwood s'invite chez vous.
I mean, look, I'm very driven by aesthetics. It was just the look and feel that I wanted. The lovely sort of soft muted green. I wanted something that was quite pared back. The room has got a lot going on. I didn't want the stove to be too busy. I wanted it to be a statement, but equally, I wanted it to have a fairly simple aesthetic. It just kind of ticked all the boxes for me. The stats are that an open fire is 10% efficient in terms of the burn. Charnwood stove is 80% efficient, and it has a double clean burn, which is a very technical term, but it's good as far as I know. It's a really big tip. When you're designing a room for someone, in order to make the room hang together, there's a focal point, and quite often a fire will be the focal point.
Having a fireplace will just draw your eye as you enter, with the beauty of it, with what's around it, but also I think if you have family or friends around it, it really is the focal point. And a dog.
I faff around the fire, I style the fire, I put candles around the fire. I quite often change the art above the fire, you know, that I might put a mirror above a fire. It's a creative space.
It depends if you want to be a little bit more minimalist or more maximalist. So I think candles, as Sam's done here, candlesticks are always beautiful. Having a centerpiece on the wall, whether it's a mirror or a piece of art, not a television, as some people do. I particularly love having different ceramics and pottery in different sizes, textures, styles. along there. I love the tone and texture that it will add to a fireplace.
Then there's the obvious things like lighting it and sitting in front of it with a, you know, I mean, we're always fighting over this chair because this is the chair closest to the fire. Quite often having to fight with a dog over, you know, who's going to be in front of the fire. Everybody loves the fire. When I put the stove on Instagram, I had a few people messaging me saying, was it okay to have a stove in London? And one of the reasons I had the stove is because it is okay to have a stove in London. So I'm really looking forward to decorating the fireplace at Christmas. The one thing I am going to be really careful about, though, is making sure that anything that could catch on fire is kept well away.
And something about watching a fire, which is really, really beautiful. It's calming. Your mind just sits there and stares. I don't know what it is, but it's lovely.
And now onto the Charnwood Haven. Now this has been a really exciting product for us to launch, and one that has had a huge amount of interest. Probably because this is a product that is more than just a stove for heating. It's about cooking, it's about culture, and it's about gathering around. It helps create a narrative. And we have seen many of you creating some brilliant content around your showroom models. We're in the process of creating more content ourselves, and here is a recent shoot we did with Isle of Wight chef Ben Cook, who demonstrates just how versatile the Haven is.
Hi, I'm Ben Cook from the Little Gloucester, and today we're cooking on the Charnwood Haven cook stove. We have some delicious recipes here for you today. So we're making an Isle of Wight lamb hot pot, a lovely grating of my friend Rich Hodgson's Gallybagger cheese, which is an unpasteurised style cheddar, and it just makes this hot pot the most incredible thing to finish off with. The top-down method, so you start with 2 nice flat bits of wood at the bottom. So we're now going to get the oven up to temperature, get it really hot and stoke it before we sear the lamb for the hot pot. Now the fire's come up to temperature, we're going to turn the oven on by switching it from 1 to 2, and that distributes the temperature evenly into the oven and across the stovetop as well. So now the fire is super hot, we've stoked it. We're going to now put our pan on to sear the lamb, get this really nice and hot to caramelise the lamb. And we've also got our stock on the side here as well, our lamb stock, which we're going to warm through slowly and add that to the lamb hot pot as we cook it. So I've got some diced lamb shoulder and some leg of lamb as well that I've marinated overnight. And a little bit of Lea and Perrin, salt and pepper. Get it all right too. So now we've seared off the vegetables, we're now going to add back the nicely seared meat. Whilst the lamb hot pot's in the oven, we're going to go and take a look around at Charnwood HQ and see where these beautiful ovens are made. So here we are in the factory. These flat sheets of steel are stored in this machine here before they're cut. So the metal sheets are brought in on this bed, and then they're moved along and they go into this laser cutter. So the cut pieces of steel are then brought into this area and they go into this machine which folds them, and then they make up the different components for the oven. The folded pieces are then brought into this area, which is where they're welded together to start forming the actual base of the oven. Here we are with the finished fireboxes. You can see they come in all different shapes and sizes. So the finished fireboxes are then shot blasted and then painted. Once the stoves are painted and dried, They're then brought to the assembly line where they're fully assembled. And there you have it, a completed stove. One Charnwood completed stove ready to go out.
1, 2, 3.
Now the lamb hot pot's been cooking for about an hour. We'll take it out. We'll just layer the potatoes on top. We're just going to cut the potatoes nice and thin on the mandolin, and then we'll butter them and we'll lay them on top of the hot pot after it's cooked for about an hour. And that'll go back in the oven for 1 to 2 hours. Those just for a minute or two, just to make sure they're soft. I've got some purple sprouting broccoli here and some delicious cavolo nero from the island. We get an organic veg box. Wow, look at this hot pot. Look at the caramelisation from the top oven. Oh, it's so perfectly slow cooked. Look, it's so soft underneath. Our lamb hot pot, cooked on the Charnwood Haven. This is delicious. And what a lovely recipe to cook. You can cook it, put it in the oven for 3 hours and come back when you're ready. Oh.
So, welcome to Tiny Homes, and we are here on the edge of Parkhurst Forest to come and look at some of our stoves that have been installed into these small timber-framed properties. Let's have a look. So we have seen an increase in sales for our smaller stoves, our 5 kilowatt stoves, for properties such as these. The tiny home market has exploded, particularly in Australia, in the UK also, and across Europe. So here we have the Charnwood C4, perfect size stove for this size property. It's very open plan living in here. We've also got a blaze heat shield behind, which allows the stove to be placed closer to the wall. It is a timber frame property, so therefore it does need that protection on the wall. And here we are in the second property, and another classic example, but this time the Charnwood C5. Again, a blaze heat shield behind. So, as you can see, it's been a busy year, not just here in the UK, but across the world. We have been working hard, not only in building the brand, but also looking at ways to build more stoves more efficiently. In a moment, I'm going to hand you across to Guy, who's going to tell you about what we have been doing here in the factory to help increase capacity. But just before I do, let's hear from some of our Charnwood partners from across the globe.
Hello guys, I'm Gail from the French team, and today we are on the Flamme Expo show in Lyon. It is a very good show we've been doing for years. The French market is booming, so there's a lot of things going on around here. We thought that we took this opportunity to present the Haven, which is the first time we present it in a show, and we really hope that our French customers will love that product. So thank you guys, and see you soon.
Buongiorno a tutti! Hello from Italy. I'm Matteo from Zetalinea, and we sell Charnwood in Italy. Charnwood and Zetalinea have been a big and united family since 2015. This year we have seen a great growth, and we are proud to work with a partner like Charnwood. Our dealers love these products, and they send us wonderful pictures every day. We look forward to sharing more precious moments together with all Charnwood team. Ciao a tutti dall'Italia!
times. I'm hard to find. Now watch me climb. I'm about my grind. I'm making moves.
Varmt välkomna till Sverige. A very warm welcome to Sweden. My name is Philip and I work here at NSP as the sales representative. We've been with Charnwood since last year and we're super pleased about the products. The quality is absolutely amazing and the customers are absolutely in love with them. A favorite of mine is of course the toasting fork. Can't forget about that. Det var allt från Sverige. That's all from Sweden. Tack så mycket. Thanks a lot.
Hello, Sawabona and Goeiedag from South Africa. I'm Julian and we sell Charnwood and we love Charnwood products in South Africa.
Hello, dzień dobry. You may not know me. My name is Tomasz Bernacki. I'm sales manager for Eastern Europe. We had fantastic growth in Poland and Czech last season, and we hope it will be the same or even better this year.
Hello, greeting in Tokyo, Japan. Advan Group Company. I am Yamagata and our staff. こんにちは、ヒューさん、マイクさん、チャンウッド社の皆さん、長い間取引ありがとうございます。また、いろいろとサポートありがとうございます。Our showroom is located in Shibuya City, in Tokyo. These are our Charnwood catalog in Japanese. We love Charnwood stove, we love Charnwood people. Keep in touch and hope we can see each other very, very soon. Charnwood Uzo! Oh!
Hi guys, I'm Greg from Pivot Stove Australia. You can probably guess I'm not in Australia right now. I'm standing here at Charnwood, but not at the dealer conference because apparently there's already too many criminals and ex-convicts in this room. They don't want another one. But Hugh did say to me he'd love me to be a part of your presentation and welcome you to Charnwood Australia. What you guys probably don't know is what Charnwood has been doing here in Australia. So 18 months ago we introduced Charnwood, and you got to appreciate my family may have owned Pivot Stove and Heating since 1876. But 18 months ago, no one in Australia had actually ever heard of the name Charnwood, unlike what you guys know here in England. But in the first 12 months, the full season we've had with Charnwood Australia, we've sold over $1.3 million in sales, and I'm absolutely so proud to do that. But we couldn't do it without the support. So a few questions we get asked, but the dealers here in the room, who I know personally, is we're already dealing with other manufacturers. What made us go with Charnwood? Well, you're dealing with them. So all the support, all the help you get, we're getting exactly the same. And it's so cool to be a part of the Charnwood way, and we're loving it. So if you're coming down to Australia, come and have a Foster's with us. We don't drink that crap, I'll give you a real beer. And enjoy the stuff. See the range of heaters we've got on display. We're loving the Charnwood range. Who would think that little Air 3, which is slightly bigger than my wife's handbag by so much, is our biggest selling heater? You didn't think in Australia little heaters would sell, but to introduce a small heater, it's gone ballistic. The market's loving it, and for 2023 season, we're looking for bigger and greater things. I hope to run into you guys next year at next year's conference.
So welcome to the factory. Before we go and have a look inside, I want to show you the roof. We've added another 50 kilowatts of solar panels to our already existing 100 kilowatt system. We've now generated nearly 1 gigawatt hour of energy since we first put these solar panels in place. So come on, let's have a look. Right, so here we are in the factory. Many of you saw our new laser system last year when you came to visit. We're now in the second year of running this system, and it continues to provide a really good improvement on our productivity by automatically loading and unloading the laser. We can run this system through the night, at weekends, it can run on mans, and it can store up to 72 tonne of material in the towers. Our two new fibre lasers continue to cut material day and night. And we've got our 10 kilowatt system here, which is cutting up to 25mm steel. And our smallest laser there, our 6 kilowatt system, but both doing a fantastic job. So here we are in the warehouse. We can see that the stove numbers have started to build up again after a busy season where the shelves have spent most of the time empty. But as we come into a slightly calmer part of the year, the stoves are coming in and the numbers are building up to get ready for the season ahead. So we've spent a lot of time this year reorganising our warehousing for our spares and accessories. For the season ahead, we're hoping to be a lot more efficient and effective in getting spares and accessories out quickly. This year, our biggest investment has been our two new robot welders. This investment cost us about £650,000, so it's a sizable sum. But this has doubled our robot capacity from 2 robots to 4 robot arms, and allow us to produce stoves at a much more efficient rate. Our skilled robot operators have been working intensively over the last few months, learning to program new models and learning how these machines work. Within our enamel business, we finally saw the much anticipated opening of Crossrail. This work has been replaced by a lot of interesting projects, including work for Gatwick Airport and some artistic cladding. We continue to do a lot of work for London Underground and Transport for London, which continues to provide the mainstay of our business. Thanks for joining us on this tour. Now back to you, Hugh. So, thank you for joining us at Charnwood Homestay 2023. We really hope you enjoyed what you saw today, and we look forward to seeing you here in person in 2024. We are the photographers. Just got caught on the bramble. Tower system and I don't need to shout. Been supplying service to us. Just talking rubbish. These state-of-the-art Fanuc robots are these.
Actually, do we need the... Yeah, do we need... You don't need me. Hi, I'm James and I work in purchasing.
Don't know what I'm doing. What am I doing? What am I doing?
That'll be on the outtakes.